Hello and welcome back to Data Analysis and Visualization. I'm Jovita Christie, and in this video, we are going to talk about dashboard design, how you can create a good dashboard. And at the end of the video, I will also show you an example of a good dashboard. So let's begin. Big data, data engineering, and data science are revolutionizing business. While more and more data is collected at faster and faster rates, the demand for clear and meaningful data insights increases as well. Organizational decision makers need information delivered quickly and in a concise and easy to understand format. So, oftentimes, the problem with us is not that we have so much data. The problem is how to filter that data and understand how that data would actually work for us, and which is why dashboards are very important nowadays in all types of decision making processes. Data analysts dashboards are one of the most popular methods for delivering information, and most of the time they are user friendly and they provide a single page, easy to understand summary of information that's vital to organizational and managerial decision making. A dashboard can also serve as a portal through which users can drill down to obtain more detailed information when needed. So it has to be a portal. It is always a single page dashboard, as you'll see when I show you some of the tips to make an effective dashboard. Although dashboards have the potential to be highly effective communication mediums, their usefulness is heavily dependent on the designer's implementation of strategic and thoughtful design principles. As with any type of design, you can find a lot of good and bad dashboard examples out there. Bad design is usually the direct result of a poorly scoped purpose. Dashboards, like all visualizations, have to be designed for a specific audience to serve a specific function. If you don't define the audience and function clearly in advance, the dashboard probably cannot succeed. The term dashboard was adopted from the automobile panel, but that does not mean because it's an automobile panel, dashboard is like what you see on your car. The space on your car, which is the dashboard where you keep everything. You have your steering wheel, you have all your meters, you have your controls for starting wipers and stuff, and you have also your air conditioner and also the music system. So all these things together, they form the dashboard of an automobile vehicle, and that's where the term dashboard comes from. So oftentimes people think that that is why the dashboard should have gauges and odometers to show things to people. So they often have odometers and they often have these gauges to show some increase or decrease. But this is not actually considered very good design today. Maybe at some point, maybe some time ago it was considered good, but nowadays it's considered old-fashioned and clunky. Now these design elements which I talked about, gauges and odometers, they consume a lot of space on your screen and they give you very little information. Because imagine just putting one odometer that's just, pointing to some increase or decrease. You can only show one parameter of something. Whereas creating a bar chart or a histogram would let you show many features in that small area. So your layer or your layout of a dashboard should be such that it is clear, concise, and to the point, and should use compact elements that are cleaner. Now, the first tip while creating a dashboard is to focus on the audience. Dashboards are all about communication, and the golden rule in communication is know your audience. One of the most common errors in dashboard design happens when a designer tries to make a dashboard be all things to all people. So if that is the case, then your dashboard won't work. It does not have to be generalized. It has to be specific to a particular audience. This designer inevitably uses every type of doodad and gewgaw to visualize every possible item of interest, thus creating a dashboard that's so cluttered and unfocused that it's nearly impossible to use. So you have to keep a dashboard that is not cluttered and very simple to look at. A business intelligence dashboard for upper management should have an entirely different focus than that of a small business e-commerce dashboard. Focus less attention on what your audience might want to know and more attention on what your audience needs to know. Focus on what's useful to your audience in an at-a-glance resource. So when you're creating a dashboard for, say, some of the executive members of your company, that dashboard should be different than the dashboard that you're creating for maybe an e-commerce website that you're running for the people. So if you're creating a dashboard for your e-commerce website customers, that should be different than the one that you're creating for your executive members, because both the audiences are different. You cannot give them the same kind of dashboard and merge information from both on one dashboard. And you always have to keep in mind what the audience needs to know. You're not trying to please them with the dashboard. You're trying to give them information that probably you want them to know. And then at the same time, it should be an at-a-glance resource. At-a-glance means something that you have to look at only once. You don't have to look at it several times in order to understand what it means. Set up your dashboard in such a way that users keep coming back precisely because your dashboard is the one that delivers actionable, timely insights that they can turn to for quick and easy decision support. So even though you don't want your audience to keep looking at your dashboard several times to understand it, you do want your audience to come back to your dashboard several times, not because they don't get it, but because they are getting information from it that they want to keep looking at many times in order to make good decisions. If the insights are actionable and if they are too hard to understand, if they are not actionable and too hard to understand, then your target audience won't adopt the dashboard as its decision support instrument. And this is most of the time, this is how dashboards turn out. One important yet often overlooked best practice in dashboard design is to plan your dashboard as if every user is seeing it for the very first time. To secure the comfort of your users, your dashboard must be self-explanatory and intuitive. And for this reason, you need to keep your dashboards simple. You should use icons and text. You should label everything and use tooltips where appropriate, and never expect a user to read a help file before getting started. So these are a couple of tips. Use icons, use text, label practically everything. Tooltips are encouraged wherever it's appropriate, but you should not expect a user to read a help file before getting started with your dashboard. The next part we are going to look at is to start with the big picture while creating a dashboard. So this means you should keep your dashboard on a single page. Dashboards are supposed to be an at-a-glance resource, and you can glance at only one page at a time. You cannot glance at two pages at a time. So therefore, when designing a dashboard, find a way to fit everything on that one page. But that does not mean you get sucked into the trap of thinking that you should, make it very stuffy and cluttered because you have only one page. So leave information out sometimes, information that's not relevant or important. Keep only what is important on your dashboard. Next is to let it breathe. White space, which is the blank white space on a screen where no text or images are placed, is very important in design. If you pack everything in closely, the eye has trouble focusing on anything. Carefully chosen white space can guide your users to focus on only the most important parts of the dashboard. So there should be white space on your dashboard. Everything should be spaced out so that people can focus on the things that actually are present. If there is no white space, people don't really know where to look at. But if there is white space, they know they don't have to look at the white space. And so they know where exactly they should see to have a good to find out what they want to know. Next is to give the layout a natural flow. Your dashboard should flow from top to bottom and left to right. That's how we all logically see. That's how we logically progress. Whenever we are looking at a page or a website or anything, we are always reading top to bottom, left to right. And that's why your dashboard should also follow this type of a natural flow that is so common with people. Next, we have provide a method to drill down to more specific information. The dashboard should function as an overall summary of the desired information. But if you're including something of particular interest to your audience, then users probably want to explore that area more fully. So you don't want your dashboard to show a lot of information right away. You want to show some sort of a gist or summary of it. And then if people are interested, if your audience is interested, they can probably click on something or hover over something to understand more about it because they are interested in it. But you should not put that information right away on your dashboard. It should be something that they are led to if they click on something later on. And a good dashboard makes getting more information a near effortless process. Unlike a static snapshot, dashboards can provide an interactive experience where users can click different parts of the data graphics in order to be presented with a more detailed version. So this is once again very important that you do not create a static snapshot of a dashboard. You have to create something that is interactive, which people can click on or hover over. And you'll see it as at the end of the video when I show you a dashboard, an interactive one. You'll understand what it should actually look like. Next is to choose alerts wisely. So most of the time, dashboards also provide alerts and notifications, but it's important that you do not provide alerts unless it is necessary. So for example, if you have a dashboard that is tracking stock valuations, if you have a dashboard doing that, then if a stock price falls below a certain threshold for some allotted period of time, there should be an alert because that is something you want your user to know. But it shouldn't be so often. You shouldn't use alerts so often that they lose their meaning, right? If there's an alarm and if you are asked to use it in case of emergencies, but if you're using it very often when there are no emergencies, then it loses its importance. It loses the importance of that alert, which is something that you should use only when it's absolutely necessary. Now, while starting with the big picture, remember that less is more. The dashboard should be attractive and aesthetically appealing, but it mustn't be over-designed. In every design decision, make sure to focus on utility and usefulness as the top criteria. Let the dashboard's form naturally follow from a simple and functional approach. Now, next important thing is to get all the details on your dashboard right. And once again here, less is more. You don't want to put all the details on your dashboard. Make it as easy as possible for users to get what they need by presenting everything as simply as possible. There are infographics available nowadays, green and yellow and red traffic lights and thermometers and bulbs and all sorts of infographics which are available, but they are often distracting on a dashboard. Use simple bars and dots, which people are so used to looking at. Use a pie chart. I don't think that people think that pie charts are outdated anymore because using a bulb or something to show something you want to portray is rather something that people wouldn't like nowadays, because we live in a fast-paced world and people want to understand in things that you're trying to say very quickly. They don't want you to put bulbs and thermometers and, don't want to just, squint their eyes in order to understand what you're trying to say. Next is stay current, which is very important. Keeping your source data current is also extremely important when you're designing a dashboard to support other people's decision making. Timeliness is everything. If you haven't equipped your dashboards with real-time updating, then they must at least be based on current up-to-date sources. So creating a dashboard that shows outdated information is definitely a big no. You should have a dashboard that keeps updating itself because the sources are getting updated. And most of the dashboards nowadays are online, so this is not a very difficult thing to do, and definitely you should do if you are designing a dashboard. Use color sparingly. Choose a simple, muted color palette that's easy on the eyes without being monotone and boring. Reserve your vibrant colors for alerts and notifications because you need those to stand out from the background. So if you have alerts and notifications, they should have bright, vibrant colors because that is something you want you want to draw people's attention to. But if you have your simple dashboard without alerts notifications, then it should not be something that's, say, for example, very bright like red. Because would you want to stare at something for more than 2 minutes if it was red colored? If your screen of the laptop was completely red, you probably wouldn't want to look at it for more than even a minute, because after that your eyes would just start burning with all that color. So you have to use a palette that is muted, easy on the eyes, easy to look at, but at the same time not boring and monotonous. Stay horizontal. Since most people read words horizontally, our eyes can better follow representations of data where they are laid out horizontally. So use bar charts left to right instead of up and down because people are more used to reading things left to right than up and down. And arrange items on lines instead of vertical stack. Now, once you have created a dashboard, it's very important that you test your dashboard design. You cannot please everyone, and you may have to juggle and prioritize a list of complaints. But true testing comes from observing how the dashboard works in action. Because dashboards are almost always web-based nowadays, you can easily get some hard statistics about their performance and usability. Log files can tell you about visitor counts, session durations, and user click patterns. And you can even incorporate A/B testing by shuffling items around to see which layout is most effective. So nowadays, all online web-based dashboards come with log files that you can look at to understand how your dashboard is performing. So you can see how much time people spent on your dashboard, how many people visited your dashboard, where they clicked on the dashboard, and this would help you to understand if your design is working or not. And if it's not, then you could just shuffle some things around and see if that works better. So testing is very important. And with this, I'm going to show you now an example of a good dashboard. So here I have an example of a dashboard which is created by the Human Resource Department. And this is idashboards.com from where I'm taking this example. And you can see this is a very good example of an interactive dashboard. It shows everything in just one page. And there are a lot of white spaces. And you can see as well that the graphics used are also not very fancy, which makes it easier for anybody to understand this. Like if you just look at this chart right here, you'll just understand it very easily that, this is 2013 data, how many active employees were there, how many active employees in 14, 15 up to 2019. And there's also this area here that shows head count, total employees, and then their divisions into different departments. You can see administration this much. So even a person who is not exactly knowing much about data visualization can still make sense out of this dashboard. And also here on the side, you can see they are giving some details about people. So like this is name of the president, and you can see that whenever I'm on this circle, I can see the name of the president. When I move to administration department, I can see the vice president of the administration department, and then I can see finance, VP of finance, marketing. So you see how the dashboard changes, how interactive it is from the way you move, from the way you hover over different areas. You can see here there's a full-time employees ratio, how many employees are full-time, how many are part-time, absenteeism rate, and if you hover over, you can get some more details about it. So right now, if I just go to IT department, I can see that the data just shifts according to the IT department, how many full-time, how many absentees and stuff like that. How many people got promotion in sales department, what was the turnover. All these things are changing from the way I click on things. And this is manager versus employee ratio, which is given here, which also changes every time I shift into a new department. How many males and female employees are there? All those things are given. How many retired, terminated employees? And here you can see employee costs over revenue. So if I move to a particular year, here as well on this side, that year gets highlighted. So you can see how that is interrelated. So this is an example of a very good dashboard, and this is what a dashboard should look like if you were trying to make one. So I hope this example helped you to understand more about dashboards. And I'm going to end this video here, but I'll see you in the next one. And thank you for watching.